Welcome back to BookCast FM, bringing books to life one cast at a time. Today, we are doing a deep dive into, well, an entire hidden kingdom. It's all around us, under our feet, but often invisible. We're talking about Merlin Sheldrake's incredible book, Entangled Life, How Fungi Make Our Worlds, Change Our Minds, and Shape Our Futures.
Yeah, this book really shifts your perspective. Sheldrake positions fungi not as some, biological oddity, but as absolutely central. They're their own kingdom, not plant, not animal. Kind of alien, really, but also fundamental to, well, almost everything.
And the question he starts with, it really hooks you. Adapting that classic thought experiment about bats, he asks, what is it actually like to be a fungus?
It's such a great way to frame it, because right away it forces you, the listener, to step outside human-centric thinking. We tend to box things into plant or animal, but fungi, they built our world. Think about penicillin, that's a fungus. Bread, beer, cheese, fungi. But beyond that, they are the architects of ecosystems. Totally entangled.
Okay, let's get into that architecture. If they're builders, what's their main structure? You mentioned this hidden network.
Yeah.
That seems key to understanding Sheldrake's ideas about intelligence, right?
Exactly. You have to look underground. The bit we see, the mushroom, that's just the fruit. The real organism is the mycelium. It's this vast, sprawling network of microscopic threads. Hyphae, they're called. Constantly exploring, branching out, searching for food, connecting things. Some of these networks are staggeringly large, literally among the biggest living things on Earth.
Sheldrake puts it beautifully, doesn't he? Something like, the mycelium is a living seam by which much of life is stitched into relation. It sounds less like just structure and more like, well, connective tissue for the planet.
It really functions that way. And this leads to maybe the most challenging idea in the book, how this network operates. There's no brain, no central command center, no nerves like we understand them.
Right. So how does it make decisions? How does it solve problems? Because it does, apparently.
That's the million-dollar question. And this is where the idea of nonlinear intelligence comes in. It's not about consciousness in our sense. It's about processing information effectively across a decentralized system. He talks about experiments, for instance, where mycelial networks are put in mazes with food sources at different points. And the network grows, explores, and eventually finds the most efficient pathways between the food sources, essentially solving the maze. It prunes back the branches that lead nowhere. The way information flows and shapes the network, it actually mirrors some aspects of how our own neurons work.
So the intelligence isn't in one place. It is the network's activity. Sheldrake says, intelligence is not something that happens inside minds, but something that life does. It's an action, a process.
Precisely. And think about what that means for our idea of an individual. A mycelial network can fuse with another part of itself or break off. Its boundaries are fluid. It really challenges our very human, very Western idea of a fixed, separate self. The fungus is more about relationship, about the network itself.
It's a profound biological critique of individualism.
Okay, so if mycelium is how fungi sense, decide, relate, let's zoom out. What have they actually built on a planetary scale? You said architects. We need to go way back, right? Like 500 million years.
Yeah, deep time. This is where you see their foundational role. Imagine Earth when life first tried to move on to land. It was basically bare rock. Plants couldn't get a foothold. But fungi, they were among the first complex life forms there. They have this incredible ability to secrete acids and enzymes that break down rock, releasing minerals. They basically started creating the first soils.
Wow. So they literally made the land habitable for plants.
In a crucial way, yes. And that led to one of the most important partnerships in the history of life, mycorrhiza. This is the symbiosis between fungi and plants. The early plants, moving from water, struggled to get nutrients and water from that harsh land environment. Fungi, with their spreading mycelial networks, were much better at it. So a deal was struck, you could say.
Fungi get sugars, carbon compounds that the plants make through photosynthesis. The fungi explore the soil, bring back water and minerals, and trade them for sugars. This partnership is what allowed plants to truly conquer the land.
And it's not just ancient history, is it? You said something like 90% of plants today still depend on these fungal partners.
Over 90%, yeah. It's fundamental. Crops, forests, grasslands, it's everywhere. Which brings us to the modern forest and the famous wood wide web. This builds on that ancient mycorrhizal relationship. Ecologist Suzanne Simard's work, using carbon isotopes to trace movement, really brought this to light.
Right. Her research totally changed the view of a forest. It's not just individual trees competing, it's interconnected.
Deeply interconnected. That fungal network, the mycelium, links the roots of different trees, even different species, and through this network they share things: carbon, water, nitrogen. nutrients flow between trees, but also incredibly information, like warning signals.
Well, Lord, what kind of warnings?
Chemical signals. If one tree is attacked by certain insects, it can send out signals through the fungal network that prompt neighboring trees to ramp up their own defenses.
That's amazing. And the mother trees concept fits in here too, these older central trees.
Exactly. Simard's research suggests these large, well-connected trees can act as hubs. They might preferentially send resources through the network to help younger seedlings, maybe their own kin, especially those struggling in the shade. It flips the script from pure competition to a model that includes significant cooperation and resource sharing.
Yeah, it really does. Survival of the most connected, maybe? Sheldrake argues symbiosis is a primary driver of evolution, the forest as a network of relationships.
That's the core idea. Understanding that relationship network is key.
Okay, so fungi build worlds, connect forests. Let's shift to how they interact more directly with us, with humanity. How can we collaborate? This takes us into things like radical mycology.
Right. Radical mycology is partly a grassroots movement, exploring practical ways to work with fungi. A big part of this is mycoremediation. Think of fungi as nature's master recyclers and chemists. They produce incredibly powerful enzymes to break down complex organic matter. That's their job in the ecosystem. But it turns out these enzymes can also break down things we consider waste, or even pollutants.
Okay, like what? Give us some specifics. What kind of pollutants are we talking about?
Well, they're really good at breaking down hydrocarbons. So think oil spills, diesel fuel contamination. They can degrade some persistent pesticides, chemicals that otherwise linger in the environment for ages. Some species can even absorb and concentrate heavy metals. And there's research into fungi that can deal with radioactive waste. It's extraordinary potential.
It's like they see our worst garbage as a potential meal. Sheldrake's line. Where humans see waste, fungi see potential food.
Exactly. It embodies a completely different paradigm, a circular one, not linear.
And we're starting to see this applied, right, with mycelium-based materials, like alternatives to plastic packaging or even leather.
Yes, that's a rapidly growing field. Using mycelium to grow materials, it's biodegradable, can be grown into specific shapes. It's a truly sustainable, regenerative approach. Imagine building materials that are grown, not manufactured, or packaging that just turns back into soil. That's the fungal model.
Okay, from cleaning waste to building materials. Now let's get into maybe the most culturally charged area. Chapter 8, on psychedelic fungi and consciousness. Sheldrake connects psilocybin, the compound in magic mushrooms, to a mycelial mindset. What's the link?
It's fascinating. He looks at brain imaging studies of people under the influence of psilocybin. What happens is that the brain's activity becomes much more interconnected. Regions that don't normally communicate much start firing together. The usual hierarchies seem to break down. The brain becomes, as Sheldrake puts it, richly networked, less hierarchical.
So like a mycelial network. More decentralized, more connections firing.
That's the parallel he draws. And subjectively, people often report experiences of ego dissolution, a sense of interconnectedness, boundaries dissolving.
The loss of that fixed, separate self we talked about earlier, but experienced psychologically.
Precisely. It's like a temporary, chemically induced glimpse of that fluid, networked reality that fungi embody biologically. This might be why these fungi have been used as sacred tools in some cultures for centuries, and why they're now showing such promise in therapy.
For things like depression, PTSD, addiction.
Yes. The idea is that these conditions often involve very rigid patterns of thought and behavior. Psilocybin seems to temporarily relax those rigid patterns, creating a window of opportunity for the brain to form new connections, new perspectives, to essentially rewire itself.
Breaking down the old rigid network to allow a new, more flexible one to emerge.
You could put it that way. It connects back to the theme of entangled lives, the realization that boundaries aren't as fixed as we think. Self and other, life and death. They're more porous.
We aren't just individuals, but pluralities, living networks of entangled being, as he says. And that entanglement includes death and decay, too.
Which brings us to the end, the return. Fungi are the masters of decomposition. They break down the dead, returning nutrients to the ecosystem, allowing new life to emerge. It's not an end, it's a transformation. Sheldrake's phrase is perfect. Decomposition is a beginning disguised as an end. Our future, the planet's health, really depends on this cycle of renewal, which fungi drive.
So the afterwards message is pretty clear. The future needs to be fungal. We need to learn to work with these cycles, collaborate with fungi.
Absolutely. We need to move away from linear take-make-waste systems and embrace circularity, to think like a mycelial network, everything connected, everything potentially transforming into something else.
It's a huge shift in perspective.
Yeah.
And after this whole journey through soil, forests, mines, Sheldrake leaves us with a sense of profound mystery, doesn't he?
Oh, completely. It's humbling. He points out that scientists estimate something like 90% of fungal species haven't even been discovered or named yet. We know so little.
Yeah, he ends with, the more I learn about fungi, the less I feel I know. And that feels like the right place to be. It's a call to stay curious, to recognize how much more there is to understand about life itself. If you want to explore this incredible hidden world further, we really do encourage you to support Merlin Sheldrake by picking up a copy of Entangled Life. We'll put a link in the description.
It's a journey worth taking. Thanks for diving in with us today.
This has been BookCast FM, bringing books to life one cast at a time.